Hello there, Metal Summoners. Welcome to the show. As always, happy Halloween. It's the Halloween episode of the Metal Summit here live on the Metal Summit Facebook and YouTube page. As always, we're your island of misfit toys, and we are here to have a little bit of fun. We've got the Psycho Steve with a little bit darker mystique going on today. We've got Bobby Dreher, and I am Jay. As always, being joined for this special episode, we have Annabelle joining with us today. But thank you guys, as always, for joining us. You know how much we love you and supporting the show. So let's rock right into everything with having a little bit of fun with the guest of the episode, drummer extraordinaire, our good friend, Phil Varone's with us.
What? Thank you. No, stop. No, you're too kind. Thank you very much.
We're not worthy.
No.
We're not worthy.
Did I hear extraordinary?
No, stop. No, don't stop.
That was a big intro. I can't live up to that one. That was big.
You with all of your bands and all the amazing stuff that you've done, dude. You set the bar pretty high. We just try to.
Oh, thank you so much. The hair. Look, it's a star. I'm along for the ride. That's just the way it is, man.
100%.
Yeah.
Try to rock it, man.
It's about the hair.
I'm enjoying the hair. I'm very happy about this.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, how's everything going with you, friend?
Very, very well. We're with the COVID thing, everything kind of got pushed back with my documentary, 30 Years of Drummer. And but the good part about all that stuff is that we've been working on a new record for the soundtrack for 30 Years of Drummer, and that's going to have some demos, and it's going to also. I've been working with a couple of artists. One's a hip hop artist named Rook the Crook, who's actually in Baltimore. That's where he's from. And then and Sean Coey, who sings with Starship, and she's incredible. So we've been writing songs, and I guess the time actually kind of worked for us. So we're just I'm just moving along, just working, recording every day, and getting ready to put a record out.
Awesome. That's super cool. So just talk a little bit about, to start right off, since you kind of introed it, what was kind of your thought process behind this documentary? Of course, the title says it all, but what was it about yourself, wanting to really look back on your career that way? Because documentaries aren't a stranger to you, but what was it about this documentary?
Well, my first documentary was called Waking Up Dead, which was, hard. It was hardcore. It was, following me on the road for 3 years and during my worst drug days. And you got everything raw. It was pretty brutal. And that documentary, even though it ends in a way that I say that I'm okay, people question if I lived or not. So this one was more about celebrating the career and celebrating people who got me there. And introducing the world to the bands that weren't big, like the bands that were necessary for me to go from step A to B. And the same guys that I played with in 1984 are in a band with me now. Excuse me. And we've been friends for 35, 40 years. And that says a lot. I think today people don't understand the word friend or friendship. They think it's like a Facebook thing or whatever the case is, but we have friends, and especially in bands that, you've been through the trenches. So that I want to show that. I want to celebrate them. I want to celebrate the career, and I want to tell funny stories. Like, it's not going to be dark at all. It's not, everybody's heard the story already. As far as with all the bands that break up, they do this, but I'm going to actually talk about great moments. You two guys were talking about Gene before, Gene Simmons. I mean, there's great stories with Gene. I loved touring with Kiss. We just had a great time. So, I'll tell those stories and just keep it light. And in the process, kind of show what we've been doing for the last couple of years as COVID has been, kind of taken center stage. But now we're hoping for a spring release, spring 2022. So that's when everybody can look for the doc and the soundtrack. So
very cool, very awesome. And before I kick it up to the guys, talk a little bit about who those guys are that are playing with you right now for anybody who's not familiar.
The band is called Panic Boom, and we formed back in '94 when I left Saigon Kick. I formed this band, and they were with good friends of mine. The guitar player was in my first band ever. The bass player is in Saigon Kick, Chris McClernand. The singer is Randy Bates, who is just this talent beyond talent. And then we have Sean Martin, who plays guitar, and these guys have been there since before 94. I met them around 88, and they've been my friends ever since. And so when we were talking about this soundtrack, I said, hey, let's the record company heard a couple of the demos from that band from 30 years ago, and they're like, oh, we love these. Can you get the band back together and record them? And we said, sure. So I did that, and I just asked him for one song. I was like, can you do one song, two tops? We ended up recording 2 records. So it just like all of a sudden it opened the floodgates for writing, and we're all across. The band hasn't gotten in a room together in 30 years. We recorded the record. We all have studios in our house. So we recorded the record and we send stems, and then it goes to the next guy and he puts it on there and he sends it back. And that's how we made a record, which was the first time I've ever done that. But a record sounds amazing. And, so technology allows us to do that. But yeah, that's who's in the band. They're just my buddies, from over the years. But Chris McClernand from Saigon Kick, he's in the band as well, bass player. So the rhythm section stays together. So,
absolutely, 100%. Yeah, that's super duper awesome, man, for sure. Psycho Steve, let's kick it up to you, brother.
So, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Anytime.
First question is, how can we get the CD that you're talking about? Is it done?
No, it's we're going to start mixing it November 2nd. Actually, it's on the schedule to mix, and the first single. Talking to the label now with Trident. And we're deciding whether to put the first single out in holiday around Thanksgiving, and it's a song called Revolution, and it's very current, even though we wrote it 30 years ago. Lyrically, it's very much what's going on today. Like the angst of America, the world, everything. So, and I did the video. I direct videos and edit and all that stuff. So I did the video. It's already done. So we're just kind of debating on when it's going to come out. With that said, the first single, if it comes out in Thanksgiving, then the record itself will be coming out, like I said, in spring of 2022. They're going to put out vinyl, special limited edition vinyl, as CDs, and then of course you have the digital download, whatever you decide to do. So, but that will be, next year. But of course, once it's done and stuff, I'll certainly send you some stuff
right on.
to listen to it.
And also to piggyback off of that and everything, you said you're working with Chris.
Yeah.
And everything like that. I know there's been a little strain with the other guys of the band. Are you guys all cool now?
Yeah, again? Yeah. No, it's look, we one thing that's happening right now with age is that our friends are dying. Okay, like it's a weird thing that we're going through. We're losing guys. Every year we're losing friends. We're losing bandmates, stuff like that. My bandmate John Solinger from Skid Row just passed away a few months ago, and it gets you thinking. It's like, how much anger do I have towards somebody? Like especially in a band, because you guys, we did stuff together that's like a dream come true stuff. Like. We can't even believe what we did with Saigon Kick, and I buried the hatchet a long time ago.
Awesome.
I don't have the energy for that, and we shouldn't have the energy for that. There's far more important things to worry about, and quite frankly, they're brothers. Like we went through the hell together, and you can finger point and do anything, but that's just for what? I have a cool career. Saigon Kick was the band that was able. I was used as to launch out and become a drummer and really, enjoy this music business. So, I can't have any regrets for that. And that's why, again, with the documentary, and I told the guys, I sent emails, to the boys in Saigon Kick, and I was like, just so you know, the doc is going to be uplift. It's not a, we're not throwing crap. It's not finger pointing. We're just going to talk about everything and have a good time. And yeah, we had problems in Saigon Kick, but what band doesn't? It's all the same. It's nothing new. The bad manager, the embezzler, but it's all the same shit. So it's like, why bother? You can't, regurgitate it. So I'm just embracing it now. And with that, yeah, of course, the guys. In fact, Jason just put out a new record. Jason Bieler, and
I heard it. Great.
Yeah. And I, certainly, send him a message and congratulate them. It's like there's no reason that, to be angry about anything. It's it's way over. We're old, man. Just turned 54. What the hell am I angry about? Like there's other crap I could be angry about. Not a band from 30 years ago.
Right on. And the same thing with the guys from Skid Row.
Skid Row, yeah, same thing. I haven't talked to Rach, unfortunately, and that's in his court. But I mean, I spoke to Snake and I saw Scott at a jam. It was nice to see them. I missed those guys, and I had a freaking blast. I mean, that was. I think I had a little too much fun.
Right.
Hence the Waking Up Dead video. But but I love those guys, man. We were friends. We met those guys in 1990 when they were out in Florida recording "Slave to the Grind," and Saigon Kick was putting out their first record, and Michael Wagner was doing both of them. And we met him then. So I mean, you're talking about 30-year friends,
Because you both were on the same label. You both were on Atlantic.
Yep.
So that's when I first met you, when Kick came out, when the release of that, and you did the CD release or album release, it was called at the time, not CD release, but like an album release party. And I met all of you, and with the Lizard, and and then I remember you went the opportunity after Saigon Kick took a little hiatus that you joined Skid Row, and I'm like, wow, I'm seeing him again. This is great.
It was cool. That was actually cool because we did. Rachel and I had a band called Prunella Scales, and we did a record for Warner in Japan, and so him and I were playing together already. And Mike Wagner, he was the kind of the one that said, you guys got to play together, like you got to get this rhythm section together. And that's when we started playing with Prunella Scales. So once they needed a drummer for the Kiss tour, he just gave me a call and go, hey man, can you learn these songs? And, so I learned 20 something songs, whatever it was, in a couple of days, and then boom, right out to the Kiss tour. It was that fast. Yeah. We had one rehearsal, and then, Saskatchewan we played. It was, a sold out arena. After one rehearsal. It was pretty nerve-wracking, to say the least, but it was a lot of fun. And that started, 5 years of just great time. It really was. I mean, I left the band to get healthy. That's why. There was no animosity. I have nothing against them, in that respect. It wasn't like a battle or anything that I left the band. I just was going to die. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, it was just, I was going to die out there, and I didn't want to. So I decided that I needed to go to, get some help. And I went to, the program and rehabs and all that stuff and doctors. And man, I made it through. I don't know how.
Amen.
But, so that's it. And that was the reason why I left the band back then. But I love those guys. I wish them nothing but the great, I have nothing but great respect and give them success. I really don't have any problems with any of the bands.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No,
Back to you, Jay.
Yeah, no, totally. And before I kick it over, since you already touched on them, like you talked about the documentary that's coming out in the spring, hopefully with the CD and everything. Talked about, it being uplifting and positive, and we're a very positivity driven show. And I did also want to ask you, with Johnny's recent passing, what's like your fondest memory of him? Like, what do you look back on about him that made like him special? Because I loved his stuff, both the Skid Row album that you did with him, the Skid Row albums he did in general, but I also loved his solo stuff. But how do you look back on Johnny's memory?
I actually adored him. He was just a really good human, and he was fun. And he always used to bust my balls because, he's from Texas, and I think W was in office at the time, or Was it back then? He was in it. But he I don't know, I don't remember exactly, but he used to bust my balls because he was a Republican and I wasn't, and stuff like that, like, and it was always I just had a good time with him. He was my drinking buddy, and we, boy, he could put one on, that's for sure. But he's a solid guy, man. There's only a couple of guys that I've ever seen that I've been in bands in that never cheated on their girlfriends or ran out, and he was one of them. He never did that. He was a solid guy, and when it came to the family, like, he was all about that. And we just had to have a good time. We call him Johnny Singo because we watched Tombstone, and we saw Johnny Ringo, and we were like, "This is Johnny Singo," and it was like that was his name. And one thing that impressed me about him, though, is his talent, because he came into the band and he had to fill enormous shoes with Baz. I mean, Sebastian is a giant personality, so you gotta, like, to fill those shoes is very hard to do for him, and I felt for him. But as far as a crooner, he can outsing many, many people. His voice was incredible. He got in the studio and he would do 1, 2, 3 takes, done, like, all great. And I was really impressed with that. I think his talent was way beyond what anybody ever really thought it was, or the fans never really got a chance to, because of the situation. But that record, the Thick Skin record, is by far, next to the new the RDC record that I did. The Thick Skin record is one of my favorite records by far that I played on. I think that's a great record. It's an amazing record.
It's so good, man. If there was like songs from like that time period that I wish could be implemented, that I wish they would implement back in, would be songs like Lamb.
Yeah.
Which is like such a crusher, Phil. It's such a good song. And to be honest, I really liked the kind of punk rock version of
I Remember You.
Yes.
Yeah. The fans didn't. That was.
I liked it.
Well, we had to do when we played it live. They didn't want any part of it, so we ended up doing both of them live because we wanted to play the punk one. Yeah, so we played the punk version and the actual version. But I remember going to Italy and the fan came up to me and goes, "Phil, are you gonna play the Lamba tonight?" I said, "Yeah, we're gonna play the Lamba tonight. Don't worry about it." But it was I loved Lamb. Was a cool song, man. I think every song on that record is great.
It's so different. It's not like a traditional Skid Row album.
No.
That's what I loved about it.
That was the idea, and that song "One Light" that's that reminds me of Johnny the most. I remember we played that song in soundcheck when we were playing with Poison. We were opening for Poison, and right after we got done playing at soundcheck, Cecil and Brett comes into our dressing room, and Brett goes, "I told Cecil to write a song just like that for me. Like, that's the song I want." It was like one of those songs. And I love that song. I love playing it. I just wish the record would have got some legs, but there's a lot of great pieces of work out there that people haven't heard, unfortunately. I think Thick Skin is one of them.
Damn, Phil, I'm on an island. I've got the loaned copy of your book, and I love the punky version of
man.
You remember me?
Like, you are definitely misfit toys.
I know, seriously. But I will tell you, the Skid Row playlist on my iPod does have your guys' version of it, not the ballad version. So I was like,
okay.
And I love both versions. I really do. I mean, I obviously I heard that version first, like everybody did. And I mean, it's great. I mean, a great song, a well-written song is a great song and a well-written song. But, you always, songs that you hear a lot of and stuff like that. And I'm like, I just really dig this punky version of it. I was like, I've heard that version of I Remember You so many times, but not as much with this. So I'm going to make it that this is the version I hear all the time because I just think it's so bitchin', dude.
Yeah. I haven't heard it in a while. I have to put that thing on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't even have one of those records. I got to go on the iTunes. I think it's on there. I don't know. It's been on Apple Music. But I that record also was cool because we did it at John Bon Jovi's place. And then we did it twice actually. We did it at Johnny's place and we did it with 2-inch tape. And I know, like, that's I love the 2-inch tape, like playing drums on that. Today, of course, we have Pro Tools and all that fun stuff. But I mean, as far as back then, Johnny had a 2-inch machine in his studio, And so we went there and recorded at his place, and I got to go through Tico Torres' snare collection. You know, it was just like a drummer's dream. You know, just going through and underneath the studio is like a garage type thing, and he had all the storage of all the drums, everything. It was incredible. And Steve Hagler was producing, who did a Fuel and Jimmy's Chicken Shack and Oleander, all those bands. And he's a drummer. So we had a blast, you know, just going through drum stuff and hitting things and all that. So I have some really fond memories of that time. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
That's super duper cool. The Empress, Bobby Dreyer, I think it's about time that we kick it to you, sir.
Yes, people were worried about you.
Yeah. So look, I'm wearing the shirt. It's Halloween, so I'm gonna go the big time with you. Come on and love me. So when you guys did that with Skid Row,
When?
What was it?
I don't remember doing that. I don't know if I did that
You
one.
guys did it on the B-side album.
Oh, well, I wasn't in that.
Rob Afuso was doing it.
Yeah, that was Rob.
Really? I thought it was you when you guys were doing Psycho Circus and everything else back then.
No,
They did Farewell.
We did it was a farewell tour. I don't know what the name of it was.
Live in the Nations.
What was it?
Hold on. It was the Farewell tour because it was you,
Yeah, it was 2000.
Poison, and 02.
2000 is when we did that.
Yeah. Yep.
It was Ted Nugent. Oh, it was Nugent.
Yeah, Nugent was the first leg.
Yeah.
Poison and 02 was the second.
No, Poison didn't come on with us. Poison, that was a different one. We had Nugent. It was us and then Nugent, and then Nugent couldn't get into a couple of states. Then they had some openers, and then we moved up. That was great. When we found out that Uncle Ted couldn't get in a state, we're like, yes, we get to play an hour tonight. Because before that, it was 30 minutes. We used to call 1,800 seconds of pure rock and roll. That's what we. And we were on at 7, and you're done at 7:30. No wonder why I was doing so many drugs. I mean, you're bored. But yeah, those were the fun shows that we got to play an hour when Ted wasn't on. So
yeah, you played in Trenton, New Jersey.
Yes,
at this like ice skating ring.
So
I know. I remember that now. I remember that place actually.
Phil,
yeah.
Going the other end, Californication.
Yes.
And the Nokia ad.
Yes.
How the hell did you get involved in acting?
I have no idea because I can't act. That's the big the best the Nokia commercial. Now here's a funny story. The Nokia commercial. There's a guy in it with a cowboy hat on, and they say the line like took the orange juice from the mini bar, and we turned to him. He's in my band now. He's a singer that's in the band still. So I lived with him in L.A. and he goes, "Hey man, we're gonna go down and audition for this Nokia commercial." I'm like, "All right," and we were just partying up a storm and going crazy. And they wanted a rock band is the thing. So we went there and improv'd it, and we got the call. We were like, are you kidding me? We actually booked this gig, and that's what we did. We went down and we shot it, and they sent a runner because they were concerned that we wouldn't show up to set because we were just partying. Like it was like we were up for like 3 days doing benders. And when we got to makeup, the girls looked at us and like, no, you guys are good. Because we used to, put the guy liner on. Like we just were messes. We were just up for 3 days. And we got the Nokia commercial. So we ended up taking half the salary and buying Coke and having a huge party for 2 days. So that's what we did with that. And then Californication, I auditioned. I had an agent in LA. When I got to LA, I was doing stand up, and I got an agent. And I just went out on auditions and I booked that, which was crazy.
Let me interject right here. So you were doing stand up?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Comedy clubs.
Yeah. I was doing stand up. Craig Gass, who's a good friend of mine.
I love Craig. We all love Craig.
Right.
Craig
so
kicks ass.
I met him on the Kiss tour actually because he was doing Gene, I was doing Paul Stanley. We were just doing dumb stuff. And
hey, how you doing?
Yeah, he goes, man. He goes, you if you decide to do stand up, you got to do stand up because he's like you're like one of the funniest guys I know. It's like, yeah, I'm funny around him, not on stage. And I went to LA and I went to the Improv and I saw them over there, and Craig called ahead for me, and they gave me a show. I came up with a show called the Sex, Stand Up and Rock and Roll Show. So I hosted that every other weekend, and that was mayhem, and it was doing so well that they wanted even more shows. But it was a variety show, and then I would play drums at the end. I'd have my rock star friends come up, but we had everything. And that's where then I used to run around doing stand up, and I would do stand up with the class that's huge now, Chris D'Elia,
Yeah.
what do you call Whitney Cummings, or we all would run
Yep.
around and do the clubs and get our name on a list and go up there and get booed, and no laughs. And it was a blast. I did it for 3 years. And I didn't want to be a stand-up comic. Like, I didn't want to be a comedian. I just wanted to try it just so I can host things. And that's why I started doing it. And it helped tremendously. And I had a blast. It was really, really,
I
really
got to
fun.
ask you this: when you went out, look, a great friend of our show, Hal Sparks,
Yes.
comedian, actor,
Love Hal.
everything.
Yeah.
Were you trying to go out as doing like a Sam type of thing?
No, because I no, I really didn't know what I was doing, because it was like, I just wanted to get up there and just try stand up. And I learned, over the years, like, what to do. Because I was disconnected from the audience, because I'm up there doing jokes about tour buses, and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about? I've never been on a tour bus." So it took me a couple of years to kind of no, but I just wanted to tell some jokes, and mostly it was for hosting, and I wanted to. I love George Carlin. I love those type of comedians. So I just wanted to kind of tell some stories and see where it goes. Now I was working on the material. There's a place called the Stovepiper in LA, and that's where you work out material. So all the comics will go there, and you get up there, and it's just like, just do whatever. You just going for timing. And I was working on this bit about how the kids today, take masturbating for granted, because back then when I did it, I had to put a projector up, like with a movie screen. Like I'm describing this whole event. And it was on Wednesdays because my mom bowled on that day, so I had the house to myself. It was like this whole plan. And I go through this, and I'm working on this material. Craig Gass goes up and does my whole act as Sam Kinison and kills it. It was huge. He gets the laughs. I didn't get nothing. But he goes up as Kinison and he kills it. So it was actually very funny. But yeah, that's all. I just wanted to do experience stuff, and I still do to this day. I just want to try things, like I don't think.
It's like me. I'm trisexual.
Well, me too, and I've tried it all. But let me say this: people today, I find, are the most angry people. I think are the ones that don't have a chance to do what they really want to do. And I think that people should just do whatever you want, like experience life. And that's what I'll do. So I'll never apologize for stuff that I've done. I don't hurt people. Like, it's not about that. It's just, I wanted to do stand up. So I did stand up. I wanted to direct adult movies. So I directed adult movies. It's like, who cares? There's a lot worse things going on in the world today. So I just wanted to experience stuff.
Okay, now the 14-year-old Bobby's coming right in on this one because I have a cocktail. So you were doing adult movies.
Yeah. Well, I was directing them, and I was shooting my lifestyle, which I was a swinger, it's for lack of a better term, swinging. And I pitched to Vivid this lifestyle, and they said, "Hey, can you shoot that?" And I said, "Well, let me ask my friends," and that's what we did. A lot of them have gone on to be porn stars, but initially we just had a bunch of swinger friends, and we shot my life, and we went to different places, and and had a good time. And so I those movies did amazingly well. And of course I did a celebrity sex tape because everybody was doing it, and that was part of it,
Here's the funny thing, and this is like an exclusive. Look, I'm very close with Chi LaRue, so you and I probably wear a lot of the same hats, and I probably ran in a lot of the same circles. Yeah. But when I did that end, I gotta ask, did you sit there and go, "Oh, come on, dude"?
No, I do that now because I'm old. But back then,
I'm
no.
old too, dude. I'm 57, and
Yeah, I mean,
thank God for little blue pills.
Yeah, I've been talking to my penis for many years now. But no, back then I see that was the thing because being in the bands, you actually had sex in front of many people. Like so I found that when I was directing movies, the star, like the male lead, was the problem because because everyone's like, oh, I can do porn. I just gotta have sex. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's not. You don't have sex, and you got to stay hard for 12 hours. Who does that? Like,
and you have to come when the director says.
Yeah, I'm like, can somebody like put in 2 popsicle sticks and electrical tape on
basically here? That's all that I've always had those things. So I would have to like make up the difference. So if you didn't get enough pop shots, I had to make up the difference. And and that's what we did. But and then we used like syrups and stuff, make fake cum and all that fun stuff.
So now it's all going back to Saigon Kick and the Lizard.
It's a vicious circle. But no, but yeah, it was fun directing, and they did well. And believe it or not, I won all the awards that I ever won in the adult industry, which is hilarious. Never music, nothing in it. It's all in the adult industry. Those are my awards, and you can't use them for anything. It's not like
what those goddamn quarters pay for itself.
Yeah, I mean basically. So that's Germany when you used to go there with the quarters, but or 42nd Street. But the good old days. Matt Kramer from Saigon Kick. We used to fly to New York because Atlantic was in New York. That's where the main one was, and we go there to do press. And as we're coming in, Matt would say, "Man, I could smell the pine sol now in those booths in 42nd Street."
God.
And we would land, and he would beeline with a roll of quarters in his pocket right over to the booths and just shellac the floors. Like he was nuts. But that's back then. Back then when he didn't know porn, there's no internet. It was like we're it
was live.
We're old.
Who was the mayor before Giuliani? It was Koch.
Koch, yeah.
Thank God for Koch, because we could have the pine saw.
Yeah.
As soon as Giuliani came in, it was Lysol.
Yeah, they cleaned it up, man. Cleaned it up.
Oh, we gotta clean it up.
Real estate was too much money, so porn's got to go.
Thank God for the Stones.
Man alive. So yeah, so that's the life. That's where I'm at today, with all that fun stuff behind me.
That's too much. That's insane.
Quick, thank God we're not dead.
Yes,
we're not dead. But speaking of not being dead, though, like, Angel, you poor bastard, because you're the one who gets to follow up this segment because it is your turn, sir.
You get the
That's funny because my next question was going to be about porn anyway.
Okay.
So all of this just goes into it. My question for Phil is: years ago, you had actually started your own line of adult toys.
Right.
Do you still? I'm trying to finish my damn question here.
Come on, Angel.
I know. I was going to ask. Do you still have your line of adult entertainment toys?
No, my penis has been discontinued. That's how bad it is. So yeah, they did a line. It was a great idea, and because of the steam from I was in Playgirl and then the celebrity sex tape, all that crap. That's where they decided to do the sex toy line, which it was all geared around music. So I had laminates, like a lanyard with the vibrator on it, like stuff like that, and the I had the rings, and we had pumps and all kinds of fun things.
I think they still got the rings online. I think because I found it earlier.
There's staggered. There's stuff everywhere, but as far as the penis mold
for the episode.
Yeah, if you could find a penis mold, a mold of my penis, I should say, somewhere, that would be a good find, because I know that they put the inventory out to all the stores and they've just been selling them. But I've actually walked into a store and I've seen it. I saw it here actually a while back, a couple of years ago. But I have that was cool. It was a fun. By all means, I highly suggest to get your penis molded. by all means, and do stand up. Those are the two things. But yeah, it was fun. It was just another experience in life to who gets their penis molded and marketed on and it's very weird to sign those, by the way. You're doing this meet and greet. It's one thing to sign a record, but they hand you your dick and it's like, here, can you sign this? And it's just weird.
Can you sign her schmeckle for me?
Yeah. That's Ron Jeremy said to me. He goes, let's see the schmeckle. I was like, what? He goes, come on, you got this dildo and all that. Let me see the schmeckle. So I work one up and I turn around and he goes, nice schmeckle. So that was it.
I think.
And now where is he at? Because for saying that,
I don't know. Where is he?
He's in jail.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. What did he do?
A lot of inappropriate things to a lot of women, and
Allegedly,
a lot of women are now coming forward now.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought the world of Ron when I first met him. I haven't seen him in a few years, but we used to do Nudes of Poppin'. We'd host it. And it's always like a fun, surreal thing to hang out with Ron. If you've seen adult movies your whole life, it's kind of, strange. But it's but I thought he was a great guy. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't hear all that.
Allegedly, these women are coming forward and saying they have sexually been assaulted.
Oh, that's not good.
Take them into the rainbow bathroom and assault them, and then come out. And
that's not good. That's terrible.
And there's a lot of them coming forward.
So, Phil, real quick. So, how old were you then?
When?
That could be taken two different ways.
What is that? Is that mine? I can't see.
One of them is name that peepee.
No, that's not. Those aren't mine. They're too thin. Those are too thin. I have what people call girth.
Gosh, you're doing double duty.
Wow.
Well,
I mean, you'd be great on Let's Make a Deal, by the way. I'm
that
looking for two dildos.
He's got the butt plug. He's got the two dildos, the butt plug. That's enough for 3 holes.
Boy, there's a party over there.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, Tony. I'll put it back.
So, have you used those? I'm just kidding.
Children watching. I'm kidding.
I don't know.
We're on the Catholic channel.
Yes.
You know it goes haywire when the dildos come out.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
It's when they show up, that's it.
Phil, let's put it this way. You won't get this on Eddie Trunk.
Hey.
See, Bobby, I'm the rock and roll freak.
It.
You're taking my reputation away.
I know, seriously. Like, Angel's going to start taking this personally, Bobby.
I'm the freaky one of the show.
You could do my morning wood section then.
That's all right. I did the paddle.
Hit the paddle. Right on.
In the cemetery.
Well, before we get too far off the rails, because it's going to happen more and more during this episode, we already know that. Angel, let's bring some of the metal summoners in.
Sure. We have a fan. We're getting back to music. Brian's going to bring us back.
Puppies and peanut butter.
Gosh, we're trying to get to the fan questions.
Bad Bobby.
Who's barking like a dog? Is that you, Steve?
It's time, bro.
You gotta keep. Oh, I thought it was you.
Put the gag ball in Jess.
Okay. Okay, let's get to Brian's question. He wanted to be the first question, so he has 2 really good questions. Advice for any wannabe stand-up comedians. I was going to say actors, but comedians.
Advice?
Yeah.
I would say try it, number one, because I think that everybody should try it, just to go up and do 5 minutes. My advice is that I don't know if I can even give advice because I only did it for a few years. But what they told me with comics like Dane Cook said and all these guys is that you have to relate with the audience in some way, and that's what I was missing initially. So that's whatever the subject matter is. Not talking about having sex on a tour bus because the audience doesn't get that. But I realized that just talking about regular stuff is what really kind of worked for me. And that's what I geared my my material to, and telling stories and being, just being truthful and having a good time, because a good story is a good story. and you didn't really have to throw any yeast in it or do much to it. And that's what I was learning, in my short time. I did it for 3 years. That's like an embryo. That's not even a comic. That's just like a guy that gets on stage. But I highly recommend that somebody that you try it. Yeah, go up to an open mic night. Just do 5 minutes. Humility is great. Everybody needs it. I mean, that's and Dave Chappelle said it the best. It's like, so I bombed, and then what happened? Nothing. Went up the next day, because you're gonna bomb. So because in your mind, all you're worried about is bombing. You're gonna bomb. So who cares? Because you get up there the next night, and that was the fear that I got over, really fast, and that's what helped me tremendously to do public speaking and all that. So it kind of, I went into it with a certain agenda, which was to help my public speaking and hosting, and it did.
And we got another question from Brian. I'm seeing a trend of fill-in drummers for national tours.
Yeah.
While this is largely the effect of shorter tours because of restrictions, do you think that post-pandemic fill-in touring drummers will be the norm?
Well, I don't know what's going on as far as the touring drummers, the fill-in drummers. Are they talking about getting sick because they had COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, look, I don't know, I know nothing about COVID as everybody else. I don't claim to know anything other than the fact that I got my vaccinations. I just stay out of the way and, try to stay healthy. But yeah, as far as touring, yeah, unfortunately, in this day and age, if somebody gets COVID, they got to go home or they got to be quarantined. I mean, that's what has to happen. So the fill-in drummers are actually, necessary, because I would think that they'd rather have a fill-in drummer than cancel a tour.
Right.
The fans would be miserable, the band would be miserable, the promoters would definitely be miserable, and right now, music has taken a hit. I know my friends, we had no income for 2 years, none. So it's like, other than our regular, royalties and stuff, but I'm talking about like playing live and stuff. And Vegas took a hit because all my friends here are in shows, and everything stopped. So we don't want it to stop again. So if that's the extreme right now, to continue touring by having somebody come in and fill in. I know, my buddy from Shinedown just got sick, bass on bass. Yeah. And but the show has to go on, in that respect. So I think it's better that way for now. And hopefully we'll see what happens in the future. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's a pretty crazy world out there. So
next question is from Jeannie. She wants to know, what band did you have the most fun being a part of?
Oh man, they all had their moments. Skid Row was probably the most fun because it was just mayhem, and it was like just. I mean, I ran wild. On a music level, playing with Jake E. Lee and Red Dragon. Jake is just a outstanding human, an incredible guitar player, and I learned so much from him in the studio. And I didn't know I could learn all that stuff, but his patience, his talent, his passion for music really rubbed off, and why I'm doing the stuff that I do today, because he was the guy in the studio going, like, you can do this. I want you to play like this. And he got the best out of me, and I'll never forget that. And I'll always be grateful for playing with Jake. I mean, just an incredible experience.
And this next question is from Susan, who was watching us on YouTube. She wants to know, did you like playing in Toronto, and do you have any crazy stories from playing in Toronto?
Yeah, of course. I love Toronto. I love Canada. Canada is cool. There's a lot of friends in Canada. I always find it funny, though, going to Canada because of the border, and I know that every time we got to the border, it was just the bus.
And Phil's gone.
Damn, we was getting to the good part.
Oh, sorry, Susan. Well, hang tight. We will definitely get Phil back. Don't even sweat it. So why don't we just jump right in, boys, with taking just taking a cue from what we got coming up this weekend. What are we doing for Halloween?
Oh, I'm doing Hershey. Come on, I'm a gay guy. Got to go up the Hershey Highway.
All right, he's back.
What are they doing Hershey? Oh, we got Phil.
Sit down.
A lot of
I
nuts.
leave for 2 seconds and it comes back to Hershey Highway. Can't take you guys anywhere.
No, you can't take us
No, I
anywhere.
can't.
Hold on to that, Bobby. We will get back to that. Sorry about that, Phil, but great to have you back. Right back to Toronto.
Yeah, we're talking about Toronto.
Yes.
Yep.
So every time we went through the border, we get, the buses just got ransacked. It was just the way it goes. And then the funny part is that they would always ask for tickets, though. Our bus is laying in the parking lot, and they're like, "Hey, can we get like 5 passes to the show?" I'm like, "You just wrecked our bus." But it was that was the most. Every time we went through the border, there was always something. But the one time it was extreme. We were going through there, and they go, or with Vince on the Poison tour. That was interesting. But they go, the agent goes, "Anybody here get a speeding ticket?" And we're like, "Well, yeah, I mean, we got speeding tickets." He's like, "We don't speed here in Canada." And I was like, that kind of stuff. I'm like, we're not even driving the damn bus. It was just like, they just have to give you the business. And, but yet they want the passes. But yeah, Toronto is, I got a couple of friends in Toronto. I'm not going to say what it is, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was the night on the Extreme tour that Matt Kramer and I gave Gary Sharon a wire hanger or a plastic hanger to crack him because a girl wanted to get cracked on the ass with it. And Gary, I believe that was Toronto. That was his diversioning of the Matt has strange fetishes, Matt Kramer, and that was the hanger thing was one of them. But the Canada was where that happened. So, but that and other stories that we'll just keep out right now. We don't want to talk about those. So.
We'll have to get Matt on the show to discuss it with him.
Oh, you got to get Matt on the show because Matt will tell you a story of 20. He's funny. He's got some stories, Matt. He's nuts.
Touring with that goddamn Portuguese guy, fucking Nuno, is a bitch.
Yeah. My mother, when she was alive, we were out on the road, and I told my mother, I said, "Look, the last show of the tour was in Florida." And I said, she loves, my mother introduced me to Elvis. And my dad was the Beatles. She was Elvis. She loved music so much. And so the last show, I'm doing sound check. I go, "Ma, look, I'll bring you up to meet Extreme, but don't bother them. All right. I got to do sound check." I'm like, "Stay right here. Don't bother them. I'll bring you up." Because she's like, "Oh, I want to meet Extreme." I'm like, "I'll bring you up there. Just relax." So I'm doing the sound check and I'm looking around. I'm horrified because my mother's not there. And I'm like, that's it. I go upstairs, open the elevator. My mother has Extreme doing a photo shoot and calling Nuno Nanu. "Okay, Nanu, move over there, get together." And they were so gracious to her. And I'm like, "Ma, I told you to leave Extreme alone, for God." And they're like, "Okay, Mrs. Varone, just take the pictures." She took like 400 pictures.
Wow.
And that was so Nanu was his name for my mother. So. But that was Nanu. Great times though. That was they were fun too. Extreme. Every tour was fun. So every tour had something.
I'm gonna get to Carla. She has a good question. Will you be doing any more videos of Phil the Builder? Which are actually fun videos, by the way.
Thank you. There was there's one left. I just found it. It was the conclusion of the barn doors, which is the barn doors to my studio in the house. And we did this series on that, and it's hilarious because the barn doors are terrible. But it doesn't look like that the way I edit everything. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do more shows, but there is one left. It's like the Eddie and the Cruiser tapes. Like I found it, and I think I have to edit it and put it out. But it'll be the conclusion to the barn doors. And that was when COVID hit. That's all I did is like house projects. So and the Phil Can Build is just one of those. Yeah.
I'll get to one more fan question before I kick it up to Jay. Candy wants to know, what was the first concert you ever went to?
First concert was technically it was Elvis because my mother was pregnant with me. But my first concert was Kiss. It was the Creatures of the Night tour, 1980, with Eric Carr was playing drums and the Plasmatics were opening up. Wendy O. Williams, and it was crazy. Cool. And that was the first concert that I went to. And then it was just like nonstop after that. I was addicted at that point.
Oh, that's so good, man. That's so cool.
Yeah.
We actually had Jean Beauvoir on like our 5th episode. So I was like super excited about that when Steve was like, "Hey, does anybody have an interest in it? And if I book Jean Bouvard, I was like, yes, this guy loves the plasmatics. So please book Jean.
Yeah, I have no idea who that guy is, but I know the plasmatics.
He played
it's all
bass
good.
in the band.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah,
Gotcha.
no, I just
Mohawk.
remember that they were great. I remember them being great because I was just shocked by it because as a kid going to your first concert, you're just blown away by the spectacle, and of course it's Kiss on top of it. But Wendy O was like in a cherry picker. She had her nipples taped, and they were just like throwing crap at her. It was out of control. And I was just like, someone gonna help that poor lady? I didn't know, I was a kid, but yeah, they were great, the Plasmatics.
That's awesome. Right on,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, no, I've always just found them to be like super duper awesome. I've always been a big Plasmatics fan for sure. So
Yeah.
Phil, the next thing is just kind of like as like a fun direction to take us. Like, all the hosts of this band have gone under the needle a little bit, but as like the chief illustrated man of this show, and you being heavily illustrated yourself.
Yeah.
What were your first tattoos?
The first tattoo was, and we were just talking about this because Freddie Curry posted something on Facebook about Rockwood. Rockwood was the artist, and Rockwood did my first tattoo, which was on my stomach. Now, because I didn't get tattoos before, I didn't know that stomach. I thought the stomach wouldn't hurt, because I'm an idiot. And they like laid two people on me because I was like, I wanted to get out of that chair, like, because my stomach, it was the worst pain ever, and all he did was the outline. It'll probably to this day tell you that I was a pussy and stuff, but that was my first tattoo on my stomach. And then Rockwood ended up doing many, and then a good friend of mine, D. Whitcomb, he just hey man, let me tattoo you. And it kind of went like that, and that's why I got so many so fast. But it was the great artists. But yeah, Rockwood had the honor of killing me for the first time on my stomach. And for you playing the home game, the stomach hurts bad,
Yes.
very bad. Yes,
Dude,
that was the wrong move.
When I got my stomach tattooed, it was crazy because strangely enough, the first half of it, because the upper part of my stomach is a pair of gothic girls with red roses with like corpse paint, and then the lower part is script right above my belly button that says "Search and Destroy." And strangely enough, the first half of the tattoo of "Search and Destroy," I don't remember if Dave did the search part or did the destroy, but it was okay, and I was like,
yeah,
this is fine. I was prepared to be in a lot of pain, but I was like, this is really bizarre. This really doesn't hurt. The second time the second half, of the tattoo, I thought I was being like cut open with like a rusty like razor.
Yeah.
Like,
Brutal.
it was so brutal. It was so awful. I was just
I can't even explain the pain. It was so bad, but it's weird too because it's like it hits nerves. My tattoo artist D. Whitcomb was doing my leg, and I thought he was electrocuting my balls because it was like the inside of my leg. I was like, dude, stop electrocuting my balls, like seriously. And he's like, I'm not. I thought he was taking the thing off and like shocking me. Like it was crazy. It was like all this weird, but yeah, I haven't had a tat in a while. I put all the pain on me years ago. I don't know if I can go through it anymore. I used to love it. You get addicted to the pain. I mean, that's what it is.
Oh,
and
sure.
you kind of want it to hurt a little bit, but not these days. I don't have the energy. Too old.
I get you, man, for sure. It's funny. One of the worst situations that ever happened to me, and I just kind of thought about this when you're talking about feeling like your balls were getting electrocuted, is I was having my chest tattooed. And, I'm laying down on the table, and, my artist is like over top of me, and the cord that goes into the machine is just kind of draped over me. Well, it ended up and then at one point when he's working on me, like I started shaking. It was so painful. I couldn't understand what was going on. I'm like, dude, stop. Like, hold on a second. He's like, no, wait a minute. I was like, no, dude, like for real, stop. Like, and he finally stopped, and I was like, what the fuck was going on? And then I realized it. The cord was draped over my nipple ring.
So you were getting it.
It literally was electrocuting me.
Oh man!
Because this cord was going right through the metal, which was going right into me.
Whoa.
It was the worst. I don't know if he just was adjusting his arm or what he needed to do to work on that part of the tattoo, but it put the cord right over it. And I'm like lying there trying not to scream as I found out, a minute after I got him to stop that, I was literally getting
electrocuted. Damn.
I was like, oh my God, this is now the craziest story ever. But oh my God, it hurt so bad. Do you have any that you look back on now and you're just kind of like, why?
Yeah. Many.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, but that's, I like when my bass player got his arm done, it was planned. He got the pieces and he knew what it was going to be. With me, it was like I was so excited to get tattooed. I would just get tattooed. Now, granted, my artists were really good artists, but I think that there was no plan in it, so my arms kind of looked that way. But he filled it in and make it look coherent and together. But yeah, there's many things I would have changed. But I mean, it's not bad. There's nothing that's killing me or anything that I need to have removed. I just would have done things a little different. That's all.
Oh, right on, dude. Yeah, same thing with me. I love all of my pieces, and I've thought through all of my pieces. But there's definitely a couple things, as the old saying goes, like know then what you know now kind of thing, where I was like, oh, man, if I had redesigned things a couple of ways, man, I'd have some bitchin' pieces now.
Yep. And I mean, I guess you can get things removed. I don't know how that must be as painful. It's probably more painful than getting tatted. But I don't have any urge to get anything removed. I there's nothing that bad on me. I don't have like a swastika or something stupid like that. Right. I just have my life on me, and I just could have organized it a little differently as far as the tats are concerned. But they're all cool. Like it all works together, and I don't even know they're there anymore. I don't know if you feel that. Like when you like, I don't see them when I look in the mirror. It's just there because it's so part of you. Like it doesn't even make sense. So, I'm not constantly looking at him like, oh God, I hate you. I would have, the only thing that I can't not regret, but again, if I would have known, I wouldn't have gone down past the sleeves and I wouldn't have done the neck because I just want to be able to go out and not be looked at or know that I'm tatted. I just find that kind of like Clark Kent deal pretty cool, where you could just kind of cover up and not be tatted. And now today, though, everyone's kind of lenient. Back when we were getting tattooed, 20 something years ago, being sleeved was like you're a drug addict, you're a hoodlum. Now cops are sleeved. I mean, everybody does it now.
That face tattoo bullshit to me. Nobody wants to look like who the fuck is it? The singer who did with Ozzy, and I'm like,
Post Malone.
What the fuck? Come on, dude. I'm like, oh yeah, oh you're so gangster.
Yeah. I don't. I would never put anything on my face personally. I'm too pretty.
Put something on my face, it's going to be white.
But yeah, I don't really understand that so much. But that's that's to each their own. I don't care either way. But I just know that after all the years, I just wish I could have not. If there's a way I could just walk out without seeing tats. I mean, if I put gloves on, I can. But I mean, just in general, like just to be able to put a shirt on and not see any tats would have been cool. So, but it's too late for that.
No, I get you. I've always been like, my upper body especially has always been really heavily tattooed for a really long time. Now, for me, the funny thing is, for me, it's slightly opposite just because I didn't do my neck and my hands for a really long time because, I love the restaurant industry and bartending and making drinks and talking to people, making them smile. I love it. It's so awesome. It's just like music and stuff. And then after being there, but I didn't know if I was ever planning to do a career change. So I was really protective and I kept my sleeves right ending at the wrists and all that kind of stuff. And then after a while, I was like, well, I really do love what I'm doing here. They really don't care. They are used to me being like tattooed, and the guests seem to really like, because my sleeves are rolled up. So like, my arms can be seen. And I was like, and then I just started getting little urges kind of about things I wanted to get, things I wanted to remember. And I started with like one on this side of my neck. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think I kind of like that. And then I started doing little things on my fingers. And I started like, honestly, I started getting a little bit happier. And then I did like the other side of my neck and then solidly did the tops of my hands and fingers. And I remember actually looking in the mirror going, I feel actually more completed. Now it's just like you said. I mean, I'm used to it all now. They're there. I don't really pay attention, to them being there now. But I do remember when they were fresh and really tattooing myself down to my fingernails, being like, yeah, those were actually meant to be there. So that I definitely was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're, there's no regrets on it. And I don't have regrets on the tats. It's just a matter of decisions. I would have done things differently, but nonetheless, now that they're there, it's part of me. And what am I going to do for a career? This is it. So, but yeah, and like I said, people today are just, they don't even care. They don't even see tattoos anymore. Like it was kind of, yeah, I know that when Rach and I, when it was Skid Row, we would go to like a store and like security would follow us, like it was back then. Like, isn't that crazy? And now it's like everybody's got tats.
Totally. 100%.
I think people just get, used to it.
For sure. And it's funny with what Bobby was saying, because I saw this really funny meme that I thought was actually really hilarious. And it was a picture of like a kid passed out, I guess, in like a frat house with all the Sharpie drawings like all over his face. And the top of the picture was like, a prank back in the day. And the bottom of the picture said like rappers nowadays or something. And I just thought it was actually really hilarious. But Psycho Steve, let's kick it back up to you for the next segment, my friend.
Right on. So yeah, because tattoos are more acceptable in the workplace for men and women. So I've had them. I got one covered up. I don't say I regret any of them. I just wish the placement or the artist was better on selected ones. So let's go back to the Saigon Kick day. How did the name Saigon Kick come about? Like, who came up with the name?
Yeah, this is a funny thing, because when the story is so boring that the record company made us make up something, we were going with Hollywood was doing I guess war movies, or and they were on a Saigon Kick. That was the story that the label wanted us to tell. But the real story is that the worst thing that happens in a band is naming the band. That's the worst, because it's like you just throw out every stupid name possible. And we were sitting there and we're trying to come up with this name, and the Jason's girlfriend at the time walked in and she said, "I have a cool name for you guys, Saigon Kiss, Kiss." And being a drummer and deaf, I said, "Saigon Kick, that's kind of cool." And that's how and they go, and everyone went, "Yeah, Saigon Kick, that is kind of cool. Let's put that one on the board, and if nothing better comes up, we'll keep it." And that's what happened. It's a boring story, but that's so the label is like, okay, since they're doing all the Vietnam movies and all that stuff, just say that Hollywood was on a Saigon Kick, and that's where we came up with. I was like, that's dumber than what I was saying, like the real story. So, but that's how it came about.
Sweet.
Nothing great, boring.
But you get the credit for it.
Well, I would never get the credit for anything in Saigon Kick, but now don't get me started on that. No, I'm just kidding.
It's your episode.
No.
You need a good lawyer?
I'm not slinging mud. I'm not slinging it.
Stay with it, Steve.
Okay, so and then another question is, as far as I knew you knew the guys of Skid Row.
Yeah.
Everything. When, of course, Rob left, you got to join the band.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Rachel
were doing that solo project, and then he thought of you.
That project. That was it. It was just like we had the band, and and again, I knew those guys. I actually, funny enough, I went over to Brazil and I was teching Rob while I was in Prunella Scales, because they were going over to Brazil doing a Monsters of Rock tour. And Rachel's like, "Dude, you want to come over and just hang and tech Rob?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not? That'd be fun as hell." And what was funny about it is that all the drum techs, because I was a tech, they were like, "What are you doing teching? Like, what are you doing?" Because they know who I was. I was like, "I'm having a good time. What's wrong with teching? You could just have a good time." And that was before I joined the band. And then when they put the band together, Rach just gave me a call. They had a guy named Charlie Mills was playing drums.
He's from Jersey.
Yeah,
I know Charlie.
Great dude. And apparently he couldn't get into Canada because he had a charge against him.
Right.
Police thing. I don't know what it was. I'm not going to speculate, but he couldn't get into Canada. And that's when they called me and they were like, "Look, Charlie can't get into Canada. do you want to come out and stuff like that? And I came out. That's when I went out and I saw the show. And I saw Charlie. He knew he was going home and all that stuff. And that was it. So yeah, it was just because I play with Rach. It was just an easy kind of in because again, another rhythm section that we had together.
Nice, yeah, because Charlie was in a band from Jersey called White Tiger with Neil Thomas. Yeah. And they played with Skid Row and Matt Fallon before Sebastian.
Before Baz, yeah. And it was funny because on one of the tours, Rob came out to the show. Rob Afuse. I love Rob. I mean, again, these are guys I knew Rob when I met Skids. They're great dudes. And he wanted to play drums, and it was weird. It was kind of like this weird thing because he was playing my drums and he was playing his songs, but I felt like he's like he was on my turf. It was weird. But we called those guys the elders. So me and Johnny. So we would just sit there and like look at the elders over there. They're all like they're all in a corner like talking and stuff. And Rob. But it was interesting to watch Rob play with them again because it was kind of like the band almost together. In that respect, but yeah,
I saw Rob play with Sebastian because Sebastian 2 years ago did the 30th anniversary tour of the self-titled album, and then I saw him in New York City. They played this place called the Sony Hall, and he invited Rob, and Rob actually did a song. They did "Making a Mess" for the first time live. That's cool. And then and now this year because now COVID's over, they're doing Sebastian's touring with. The Slave to the Grind tour. Yeah,
I saw that. That's such a great record. I loved playing the Skid Row stuff. It was it was an easy in the band because I was listening to that stuff before. Anyways, I was a big fan, and they're such great songs. And Slave is definitely one of my favorite records of Skids, and it was fun to play. All those songs on there were fun to play, and. Especially the hits, off the first record. But it's one of those bands that, you just go out and play hits, and the people love it, and you can't do wrong. And it was a lot of fun. And I think that was that's what I got from that the most was just having a good time with your buddies and playing cool songs because they were all great songs. Those are great songwriters. Rach and Snake, boy, they can write some songs. That's crazy. Yeah, but
all right, Jay.
Right on. No. Very, very cool for sure. Bobby, let's bring you back in, man. I think it seems like you might be itching to open up a fresh can of worms. So we're going to give you that opportunity. And fans at the same time, make sure you're getting those questions in for Phil because Angel is coming up next. Bobby, it's all you, bro.
Did he pass out again?
He is gone. Bobby is off the screen.
Is that real?
That's real.
This is the second time, Phil. The first time he did it is with we had Doug Pinnick on the show.
Yeah.
And he was out like a fat kid in dodgeball. He had his
COVID. Hey, real?
Who wants to?
Bobby, wake up, dude.
Someone hit him with a dildo.
Wake up. You're muted.
You're muted.
You're muted. You have to unmute. I'm trying to unmute him, but
no, he has to.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I can't unmute the guest because you chose to mute himself.
Good morning.
Welcome back to the land of the living.
I mean, I know my interview is boring, but damn, you have to fall asleep, right?
Look, I've been looking at all your porn sites. I'm like,
that'll put you to sleep for sure.
So I got to ask.
Porn puts you to sleep.
Never does. Well, after my 5 minutes, and
once you get it out,
it's giving you more than 5.
So I got to ask, what?
It's better, Bobby. When you rub one out, you go to sleep, dude. You should know
dude, it's better than fucking Trintellix or anything else.
No, I'll
Wellbutrin, it's like rub one.
Oh, Bobby.
So, Phil, I got to ask this.
Yeah.
So, look, we know the economy sucks, but what the hell got you into porn? Look, I know when I got involved in that end, it wasn't just for the money.
Yeah, no, it was to direct. I was just wanted to do that, and I was on that because I just did the rehab show, the sex rehab show with Drew.
Yeah, with Dr. Drew.
Yeah, And then Playgirl, I did the Playgirl thing, and then Vivid wanted the celebrity sex tape. So just because I had a relationship with Vivid is how it really started. I wasn't planning on going into the business and being a porn star or anything. I just wanted to direct some movies, and I told him some ideas, and they went with it. So that's the reason why I went in there. Plus, it paid for my daughter's college. So the porn business the business itself. I didn't like what was going on within the business because it's not it's not really the government doesn't kind of babysit it or whatever. There's no real, and it's kind of the Wild West, and that's not what type of person I am. I'm not, to get on the phone and like threaten people left and right. I just think it's stupid. And but that's what it is. It's a big pissing contest, and that's what I didn't like about the business. And the girls were getting hurt, so but the actual shooting the movies is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to direct, and I had a really good time doing it. And
So
it was fun.
I had a great class a couple years ago, and it was with a sex therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me the difference between porn and real movies, and I always laugh when she told me this, is smell and taste. Because
smell and taste.
Smell and taste. Because what you see in porn is all fantasy.
Right.
Look, there's going to be bodily noises. People are going to make farts. There's going to be a queef. There's going to be a,
there's going to be a paddle.
And it's
paddle.
What you think is somebody going, oh, that's good. Look, cheese is cheese. Phil will tell you that. It's like, dude, you need to wash that thing. If I'm putting that in my mouth.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No.
Come on. Come on. What is the worst thing that you ever tasted that you just went, oh.
The best and worst thing?
Oh, man, that brings back memories. Gosh, I want to throw up.
Yeah, I don't know. I lost my taste 20 years ago from Coke.
We wish we would have had COVID back then.
No, but I did a lot. So I can't taste anything anyways. So I taste by memory. So everything tastes good to me. That's how I do it. I just remember it being good. But no, I don't remember anything bad. I couldn't even tell you.
But you've been in the business. Has there ever been the chuckle where you're being the producer and you're going, you had to laugh over something?
No, it was actually the only things I had to deal with back then were guys that couldn't keep an erection, or they took so many Viagras that it actually reversed, and it was weird. That's the only thing I've ever had to deal with. I never dealt with hygiene or anything like that. So it was actually, and again, I was shooting a lot of my swinger friends. So in the swinging community, it was people washed and stuff. So it wasn't too bad. There wasn't anything that stood out like that. Not shooting. Shooting was always about the male talent that couldn't pop. Give me a pop shot, it couldn't get hard. It was like those were the two things I battled every time I shot.
The funniest thing I ever had, I was at the whiskey, and Ron Jeremy walked in, and I'm sitting there, and it's on my Facebook, and I'm with Ron Jeremy, and the only thing that ever came to my mind was like, Ron, did you ever go up and go, oh, there's no way I'm doing her? Look at that. It's like
he would do anything. I think he would have done anything.
The weasel. Oh my God! But Ron was great, and I looked at him and I just said, "Any embarrassing moments?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, "You can't have sex when somebody starts laughing at you."
That's true. Well, that's the last thing you want is to take your dong out and get a chuckle. You don't want that.
And that's what it is. He said, and it's not like, oh, ha ha ha. It's going. He said it's more like having sex with your friends.
The adult industry?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly what it is. It's actually fun that way. I got to kind of get a couple of childhood dreams come true. I got double teamed by Christy Canyon and what's her name? Oh my God, Debbie
Ginger.
Diamond, Christy Canyon, and oh, I can't think of her name, but it was it'll come to me. No pun intended. But it was but yeah, I mean, but it was our friends because everybody was tested, everybody was like, so we didn't care. And everybody knew that you could just go have sex and it was all good. Nobody was like clinging and it wasn't anything weird. So that's what I missed the most was like all the friends because it was such really good people in this business. It really is. And that's definitely like a that it's like a clan of stars, adult stars that we just had fun all the time. We always had those good weekend parties. They were way better than touring. I could tell you this.
So Phil, I got to tell you the funniest thing ever. And you've been in San Francisco, and you've probably seen,
Mitchell Brothers,
Folsom Street and everything else.
Of course.
So, and look, I wouldn't be bearing this to anybody, but thank God you're here. So, fragrances, and you're probably one who laughs about this. So, I was going somewhere, and I got denied to go into a place because the guy goes, snipped me and goes, "You can't come in. You have deodorant on."
What?
They didn't want anybody with any
Nothing.
fragrances on.
What about cologne? Nothing. None of that.
Nothing. Didn't want
Why?
you in there. And it was like, I'm like, really? And then the next day I went in and I'm going, whoa, dude. Shit that was going on in there. I'm going, how do you get in a cab after that?
Yeah, I mean that place must have smelled like a shithouse door on a tuna boat. I mean, you're talking about bad, fucking all those people and I don't know.
It's the way it is. But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people who don't want people who want fragrances. It's like
that's odd. I can understand this.
Ginate.
Yeah, if somebody's like bathing in a cologne, that gets annoying. But it's like basic hygiene, deodorant. That's weird.
Oh yeah, it was funny as hell. But sex is sex.
It's like bowling to me. I've said that. It's like that's what. Hey, I'm gonna go bowling tonight. Oh, you're gonna have sex tonight. With swingers and stuff. I try to equate that. Try to tell my vanilla friends like what it is. And it's like because like I always get the question of like, well, how can you have sex and not be attached to something? And it's like, well, you're friends, so you're not really attached. There's no feelings. It's like going bowling. You just have fun, and it's an activity. It doesn't have to have this great thing attached to it. So that's how I've done it for so many years.
I'm going to throw this out really quick. Being in the rock world, look, we've seen things change a lot, and gay, straight, whatever. From and I love it that we have Joan Jett. I'm really close with a good friend of ours on the show, Doug Pinnick, Rob Halford, everything. And when I brought it up to them, I'm like, dude, how did you all keep it behind closed doors? And they said, Freddie broke the door open for us. In 91. Mm-hmm. Because people got scared and they were like, look, we can't say that shit isn't happening. And it is. Look, it's here. We're human. Yeah. I asked Rob, I'm like, when you came out as a gay man, were you afraid that it was going to destroy you? He goes, look, if anybody was going to a metal show and didn't see me wearing what I was wearing.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but you don't think about that. I mean, even because you're just leather in that setting is metal. Like it's not. They don't know about the other stuff. Most of the people. But I look at sexuality as like who cares if people are gay? I mean, like we should.
But it's not even the gay thing.
I know. I'm just saying, like
look, I'll go Laura Jane Grace from Against Me, the whole transgender thing. Yeah. Music has fucking changed so much in 10 years.
Yeah. Well, I just
It's
think that
amazing.
people, unfortunately, because we have these platforms that are social media platforms, people find it like right to get into other people's business, you know? And I think that people should mind their own damn business. I think that's the thing. And who cares? Sexuality or, you know, transgender, most of the people that don't understand that, you know, they're going to talk about it and talk bad about it and all those things. And they don't understand what exactly it is. And they don't want to know. That's the problem. So it's I think that's the real epidemic or pandemic, if you ask me. But I always find it interesting, like that people are shocked when, you know, they find out that their favorite rock and roll artist is gay. It's like, why is that shocking? You know, because because it's synonymous with, you know, chicks and, you know, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Well, yeah, it is sex, drugs, rock and roll, but it's just
We
not
all
with
have
chicks.
sex.
Yeah, it's like, so I always, that's the thing that's weird, that I guess people can't separate that. That they don't think there's any gay, you know, rock and roll
Well,
people.
here's
Of
the really
course, you
cool
know.
thing. We all grew up, and Jay will talk about it and everything. When Prince brought it out with Darling Nikki, you
Yeah.
know, when we first heard that, did we know what it meant? And I was just like, oh, or, you know, going to Rick James. You know, there's a very kinky girl. We didn't
Yeah.
know what the fuck that meant. We're like
Right.
in 7th grade and going, what's he mean by that? Or
Yeah.
let's go back to fucking Kiss. You know, oh my God, there were so many innuendos.
I
Back
mean,
then.
there's underage stuff, but you know, it's again, a lot of people don't really read into the lyrics. But back then, I should say. These days, I think they do, and most true fans will know the lyrics. But I think lyrics, when we write songs, it's about letting the fan or the person listening to it make their own
Yeah.
connection, whatever it may make. Let them come up with what it's about. And not so much, you know, it's like we'll write it and we'll write lyrics, but it'll mean a lot. It'll mean different stuff to everybody. And so yeah, I don't know if bands back then really told you what the songs were about, but I think that today it's kind of with all this saturation with these platforms and stuff, social media and stuff. It's like the mystique is gone with bands. I think that's what's missing today. I kind of feel bad for the generation, because back when I know I'm in the 80s, I grew up in the 80s. So it was like, that was a great time, and you had romance with the bands, and you loved, you know, that you didn't see them all the time. When MTV came out, my head nearly exploded. I didn't know what the hell I was seeing. You know, it was like, now I see them. These people live in a radio, you know, like you don't even equate the two. Now it's like, you can just, you know, Google somebody and you can watch the guy from Smash Mouth make an ass out of himself. You can do all that stuff, where back then it was like legend stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Vince Neil did something, it was like you had to wait, you know, and then it was like all like banter. There was no video of it. There was nothing. It was just a lot of talk. And I think today the mystique is gone. And that's why I think the rappers are like the rock stars, because they kind of keep a little bit, even though they're out there, you just don't know. Like I think they kind of confuse people with stories, and it's a good thing. It's a little mystique, I think. You know, where rock stars, there really isn't any rock stars anymore, it seems, you know, other than what we know. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a different time. That's all.
Well,
It's weird.
you know, look, and I'm going to throw it back to Jay in a minute. The people who really broke the ice for us, and somebody just brought it up, was Elton, Bowie, you know, Freddie. There were a lot of people. Joni Mitchell. There were a lot of people. Patti Smith. I mean, there were a lot of people who threw their sexuality out, and you were just like, oh, you know, whatever it was.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if today people are more lenient towards that, or they're more like bigoted. I don't really know. It seems like, you know, you get people that are okay with, you know, with pansexual and transgender and gay and all that stuff. And then there's others that are just like in the prehistoric days. I don't even know, you know, like I just feel like people should evolve, as humans should evolve. And if it has nothing to do with you, why are you bothering? Why are you getting
So
involved?
before we throw it to Jay, tell me one thing that doesn't fuck you up is these pronouns. I'm like, where the hell did all the these come out. I don't need English in my sex. Them, though, these, thou, thou.
Well, I mean, that's and again, it goes back to just being identified as a certain way, and I respect that. I really do. And again, it's an individual thing, and I've been called a lot worse. So I'd rather be called that than
hell. I've been
asshole.
on this show long enough now. We're
Yeah. I just rule of thumb is I stay out of everyone's business, and I support anybody that. And again, people don't understand half the stuff that they're angry about anyways. So if they did some research, they probably wouldn't be so angry. But they don't want to do that.
Phil, I love it. I love what you're doing, and I keep kicking ass.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
No, but for sure. Well, I mean, when it comes to that kind of stuff, you're definitely right, Phil, and you're right, Bobby, about times changing and stuff. Because you guys, we mentioned like Freddie Mercury, or even just plucking out a song like "I Want to Break Free," which was banned on MTV. It was written by John Deacon, who's straight, sung by Freddie Mercury, who's gay, and the whole video is like a drag show.
Yeah,
and it was just a whole different time when it came to that stuff. But also, Phil, I loved what you were talking about just when it came about like these guys living on the radio and coming out when it came to the mystique. Because one of the things that was always really interesting, that's just not the same anymore because it's just impossible to have it that way, is when they're even using yourself as an example. Like when there was a lineup change in the band, you didn't know about it until the management and the band were ready for you to know about it.
Right.
Like these guys are out of bands and their announcement, some guys don't announce it right away. Some people, they take a little bit of time for when they're ready to announce it. But then people get, really curious about, who it's going to be when that announcement is happening. The internet's blowing up. And, I remember when Slipknot had people getting replaced, people would be, and even with a band like Ghost, they started trying to investigate who these people are, like the shapes of their faces and their way their body is and their ears and their nose. And
it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but they were.
They're just humans that play rock and roll. It's it's amazing, the steps that people will go. I guess that's exciting, though. I mean, there is some excitement with that. That's good. It's a positive excitement, I would think. They're trying to find out. They're not being negative, but yeah, I don't know. It's just I think the music business itself is it's such a different animal these days, and with platforms like YouTube where you can get noticed, which I think is great. There's a give and take with technology. If you ask me, you have on one hand you got this great platforms that you can just put new music out, and many bands that you would have never heard of are able to put their music out and possibly get signed. And but then on the other hand, it's like the saturation of what's even good anymore, and then you got the misinformation and all that stuff. So it's a very confusing thing. It could turn confusing quick, but nonetheless, I mean, we're headed for technology. I mean, technology is just in the recording, with Pro Tools and the new plugins and the production suites that you get now. It's completely just like a wizard now that does mixing and stuff. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, we have to evolve with technology, but I think that many people use it the wrong way. I think that's one of the main things, and just spreading bullshit all the time.
Absolutely,
there's no need for it. So
no, 100%, man, for sure. Angel, let's bring you back in, man, with the Metal Summoners. And also on that same note, Metal Summoners, it is last call for alcohol when it comes to your guys' fan questions. We will bring it back around to Angel again, but it is last call for alcohol, guys. Final questions and comments for Phil. Please get them into the comment section. Angel, it's all you, bro.
Well, my question for you is, growing up, let me break it down to a two-part question. You started out playing trumpet and then you went into drums. Were there any other instruments that you actually played?
I play piano and I play bass, but no, I wanted to play trumpet, but I couldn't because of my ears. So the natural thing is to play drums. But it was a music program, in school. It was grade school, so anybody could play. And my doctor said, "Yeah, you could play drums. You just got to wear earplugs." And I play percussion, so I play like a snare drum or a cowbell or whatever. But yeah, I wanted to play trumpet because I thought that would be the instrument that's going to get all the chicks. And I was heinously wrong. Drumming did that. That does. But yeah. So over the years, I just learned. I mean, I just wrote. I write on piano, so I kind of taught myself to play. And I can as Vince Neil called it, blinkety blink. When I was touring with him, he wanted to do Home Sweet Home, and I just started playing. So it sounded like a cat ran across the keys. So at night, like we're on stage, you'd be like, "You guys want to do blinkety blink tonight?" Dissing me because it was terrible. But I've come a long way since then. But yeah, so it's that and some bass. It's amazing what you can learn with technology. Again, is like you just go online and watch. You can learn piano. I took piano lessons years ago, but only a few lessons because I get bored because I'm a drummer. And but now it's like you go online and just get a tutorial and you can learn anything. It's kind of cool that way. So yeah, that's really where I write, is on the piano. We have 4 in the house, so pretty much we have one in the kitchen. So when you're cooking, you can play, and we have 2 studios, and yeah, so they're all over the house.
Speaking of that, you're also a producer. What do you like best about being a producer now, as well?
As far as music is concerned, or
yep,
yeah,
music.
I just love creating. I think that it's opened something that I never thought I had, because in my old bands, I didn't write songs that much, and I was just too busy partying and doing my thing, and that was my fault.
Wink, wink, nod, nod.
So, yeah, and these days I started. The one thing that I kind of regretted was I spent all these years going into the greatest studios, working with the greatest producers and bands, and I never wanted to stay in the studio. I hated the studio. And I would go in, I'd do my drum tracks in 2 days, and then I'm out. Like that was it. And I missed out on learning the recording. I was there, but I wasn't there. So the last 2 years when COVID hit is when I was like, okay, I'm going to take a crash course. And I've been studying Pro Tools and recording, and for 2 years right now. And and even after 2 years, nothing. Even after 20 years, nothing. It's an incredible thing, because it's constantly evolving. And but that's what I'm doing now. That's what my passion is. So it's really opened this door to creating. So when it comes to producing, I just hear it a certain way. I really can't explain it. Bands will give me a song and I just hear it a certain way, and I'll rearrange it and send it back to them, and and record. That's how it goes. I don't know what that is. I just hear it, and I hear it complete. So but I just love the final product. It's especially when you take a song that's pretty good and then you can make it great, and that's why I love it so much.
Okay, cool. I've got a question from Dennis Sanchez. He wants to know, have you talked with Jake Ely recently? Hope all is well.
No, I haven't. It's funny that question, because I was actually telling a friend, I'm like, yeah, I got to get a hold of Jake, because I haven't seen him. He lives here in Vegas. But since COVID, I haven't seen him. I had talked to him right before COVID, because I was in a session out here with a guitar player named Mike Varney, and there was a funny thing that happened, like with the engineer, and one of the things that Jake, what I loved about Jake in the studio was, he's like, it's just music, just play it, man, don't overthink it, and it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay, just play it, like it's about the take. And I contacted him then. I sent him the take, and I said, here, this is because of you, is why I have this take, and it was this really cool thing. But I haven't talked to him since then. So, but I'm meaning to reach out to him and see him. I haven't seen him.
Let's go to Rich. He wants to know, what was or is your biggest and most memorable achievement? 2
kids. That definitely would be the achievement, because they're 2 wonderful kids, and I wouldn't trade the world. People always ask me, like, hey man, if you can, because I had a chance to do another career back in school, to go into architecture, and I was going to be a golf pro, and and I chose drums. And only because my parents were so damn supportive was I able to do what I did. But people say, would you ever make the other choice? And I would, only if I can get my kids. So like that's the difference. That was the only give and take. Like I just want the kids. So that's I think is the way they've turned out. And I'm not taking credit for it in that respect, but just the fact they're my greatest accomplishments. And but as far as on a professional level, I think there's greatness in everything that you do. And most recently, again, Jake, playing with Jake is probably, and what he got out of me on that record is probably my greatest drumming on record that so far, like the people haven't heard. The new Panic Boom record, though, that's something special. We really hit something there, and I think that's going to be my greatest musical accomplishment, because we wrote that record, and it's this new way of writing with everybody's in different houses, but it also tapped into what I'm doing now, which is writing songs, which I never did. I wrote one of the songs, actually two of the songs on the soundtrack I wrote in 1993 in the studio in Sweden. And we recorded one of them, but it never made the record because it wasn't good enough. But don't get me started on that. But I have we rewrote them. One of them's a hip hop song now. And actually, I'm sorry, two are hip hop songs, one's a pop song. And it's the same song as we did a pop version, a hip hop version, and then we have a hip hop version of the other song. And that started the writing process. And I've just been writing songs now, like nonstop. I guess it's 30 years. It's about time. Somebody commented on my Facebook, well, it's about time you got some talent. And it's true. It's like, I didn't even know I had these things, to do, but it's also the people you work with, like who your writing partners are, and who's getting, inspires you. So it's been a really cool process, and it's been shocking for me, because I didn't know I had it in me, especially on the electronic stuff. I know way too much about computers now. Like I shouldn't know this stuff. I'm too old. But I've made it a point now to really, between the Pro Tools recording, mixing, and then of course with editing, because I produce direct videos, music videos, and do all the editing myself and stuff like that. So that's been my passion now, and I love it just as much as drums. I love it. It's the same gratification as playing a live show, is to do a great edit and and hand it off to people and stuff. So I just did 3 music videos that'll be coming out soon for other artists. And that's my new passion, to do. So it's the same. It's creating, no matter how you slice it. I don't have to be in front of the camera anymore. I like back behind the camera. I like kind of just, creating there, because it's all the same, and it's very, very much gratifying.
Nice.
Susan wanted to know any plans to go back to Toronto.
There will be if we when the Panic Boom record comes out, who the hell knows what's going to happen with that? But that would be the reason why we would go there. No plans right now, but we'll see what happens. You never know. The future is wide open right now. So,
and I'll get the next fan question from Jeannie, and the last one. Do you still visit Anthony at his studio in Dillsburg?
I haven't been there since we left for the tour. Although Ant sent me a message on my birthday last week, which was nice. I love Ant, and I love those guys, But Dillsburg is a great place. It's home of the Pickle Drop, just so you know. It's famous. There's something about that place. It's interesting. It's kind of like back in time. It also makes you crazy too, because it's back in time. But no, I haven't been back since we started the tour in that February, right before the pandemic. That last tour we did, we rehearsed there and we started it there, and that was the last time I was on the farm.
Cool.
Right on. Very cool. Before I kick it up to Steve to take us around our final segment, just because the last fan segments kind of got me thinking, because they were bringing up Jake and bringing up RDC. If you don't mind, Phil, can you kind of clarify a little bit of what the situation was when you left RDC?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan of yours and I'm a fan of RDC, and it got a lot of coverage, of course, but would you mind kind of clarifying it a bit?
Sure. I was over dramatic, and it was my fault, and I was embarrassed about it. And I put an apology out. I apologized to the band. It's one of those moments that When I did the tour, I loved that band, and I loved and I loved the record, and I loved recording it. When I got on the road, I think that the biggest problem is that I started hurting, and I realized that I was getting older, and that was a really hard thing for me to accept, because when I toured before that, I was younger, but I was like, you're invincible, and all of a sudden, like, I was in such pain that I could barely, like, walk, and everything that happened was fueled by emotion, which was stupid of me. I totally take the blame on that, and I apologize to them up and down, because I didn't think about how it would look to the band, and we're in the middle of a tour, and I'm retiring. So it was just very dramatic on my end, and I'm embarrassed about it, and I apologize to the fans for that, and to Jake and them, because they didn't deserve that. And it was just, like I said, I was hurting very bad, and I wasn't able to heal, because every night we played, I gave them 1,000%. The fans they shouldn't suffer that I'm in pain. Even Jake was in pain. We were all, but that was my biggest wake up call, and it kind of freaked me out, to be honest with you. I was like, wow, I'm actually getting old now. Like, this is weird. And and yes, I'm only 54, and that's not old technically, but after touring for 30 years, your body is just, it's a little older. So you're abused it. I'm a drummer. My back is wrenched, but it was miserable. There was nights where I just had to go to sleep, and my friends were bringing me back patches. In the old days, it brought cocaine. Now it was back patches and Advil. But that was my thing. That's what did it. And I just went, I got really emotional about it, and went off the deep end when I shouldn't have. And that was, like I said, it was embarrassing. And I apologize since, because it's necessary. When you do something wrong like that, you have to apologize and see your part in it. And I saw my part in it. It was all my part, because Jake is wonderful. The band is incredible, and they didn't deserve that. And and like I said, it was a touring. I couldn't wait to tour this record, because the record's so good. And it was so much fun playing Badland stuff and playing with Jake. I mean, you forget who you're playing with, and then he goes into, like, Bark at the Moon. You're like, oh, it's that guy. Okay, yeah, like you forget. And so that was it's all on me. I went too Hollywood and over dramatic and crybaby and all that crap. And I wish I would have done that. I regret. I wish I would have done that differently, because I'm playing again. I'm playing. Right. I took time off. Don't get me wrong. I didn't even want to know my drums for months, until I did that session with Varone, and that's what kind of sparked everything to play again.
No, totally, Phil. Like, really appreciate it, man. Because I mean, you're fantastic. We love your work, and like I said, I saw you on that tour. The record is so good, and you were fantastic.
Did we lose him again?
We did lose him again, but
yeah, he'll come back.
We'll just give it just a second before he comes back and stuff. But that's actually kind of a cool segment for all you metal summoners, and for the fans, and for us as well, to hear. When sometimes, like, the pain just does become, like, overwhelming, or you've got a lot on your plate and stuff like that. So we definitely appreciate Phil talking about that, because
he's back. Bobby, wake up.
Yeah,
so boring.
Bobby fall asleep again?
Oh, hey, Phil, we got you back.
Bobby's asleep. My phone fell asleep. The whole thing was. That hasn't shut up.
Hey, that's all right, Phil. No worries. But we appreciate you, man. I thought that was a really cool segment, and our job here, and of course with myself, I saw you on that tour, and you're right. The album is so good, and even with all the pain you were in, you played so great, and you were so genuine after the show when I was talking to you, and you were signing my book. So we really appreciate that. And, us as a show, and myself as the person, of course, who posed the question, we're never in the position of wanting to, like, put anybody on the spot. But I kind of got, was thinking a little bit about what the fans were asking. And, we are curious, especially when it comes to doing interviews. So we do appreciate you taking that head on, and thank you.
No, it was my pleasure. And it's the way it should be. There's no scandal, there's no scandal there. It was just, it was my fault. And I wish people would take the blame more often, and what happens? Nothing. Your fans say thank you. a little humility. That's okay. You keep the respect of the people that you love and that you want the respect from, and then you move on and to whatever. But I mean, seeing a part in it, that's something well, the program taught me, but my father especially, it's like you just have your word and that's it, because they could strip you of everything. You don't need money, you don't need fame, you don't need shit, but your word, man, that's it. So when you screw up, man, you just gotta just take the hit. It's okay.
Totally.
It's okay. You'll live another day. You really would.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Psycho Steve, let's kick it to you, my good dude.
Well, to wrap this up, I wanted to know, as far as I remember when you were starting to make the movie, you also mentioned about that people can donate and they can get a thank you on the credit.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing, or is that done?
Yeah, no, they could do it on the website. It's and I did it for the fans because it's like, how do you thank everybody? But
Right.
It was for $5,
Right.
$5 you can get your full name in the credits, and as I said, let's make watching movies great again, and so you can see your name in the credits, and so it's still happening. If you go to philvarone.com, it's there as well as 30yearsadrummer.com. It's on there in the donation section, I think in the synopsis area, but it's on the site either one. And
Awesome.
that's it. $5, give me a name, boom, goes up in the into the credits, and also on the site. I'm loading the names up on the site itself. Great effects
No, it's just the audio.
Is it his or ours?
I think it says.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil. In case you can hear me, brother.
Check your cord on your phone. There you go.
Definitely.
But without them, without the fans, what do you got? Nothing.
Yeah.
So I try to keep them included in anything I do, and they always come through. They always want to be supportive, and I appreciate that.
Awesome.
Cool. Is that still live? Can fans donate right now if they wanted to?
Yeah, it's on the websites, philvarone.com or 30yearsadrummer.com, and we have a panicboomband.com as well, but they're all like linked. So if you go to one, you can click to the others and stuff like that. But that's all. We're in the beginning stages of getting the Panic Boom stuff together. So they'll be able to see all that stuff. I'm excited to put out the new music. I'm excited because there's stories behind these songs, and it's going to be an extension of me. And then the Panic Boom stuff is just like some of the greatest stuff. Like honestly, the songs just amaze me that we're writing, and we're all writing. Like it's not just one guy writing or whatever. We have all write these songs together, and we. Me and the singer get on FaceTime and have these midnight sessions of writing. It's hilarious, but we're getting these great results. So there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into these records, and I think the fans are going to dig them. So, but I'll start making the announcements once the label secures the days. We're talking about it now, to find out. I'm hoping that they want to go with Thanksgiving for Revolution to be the first single, and that's a cool song. So I'm hoping that we go for it. So we have something out this year, and then next year, Valentine's Day, we're talking about Every Soul, which is a song that I wrote 30 years ago, and a singer, Sean Coe, she who's out with Starship, she wrote the new melody line and lyrics for it because I just wanted a fresh start, and came up with something really great, and I'm very excited about that, and it's something special. So there's a lot of good things ahead. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. So very cool. Angel, let's kick it to you, buddy. Has anything popped up from the fans, or is there any final questions from you?
My final question is, man, I mean, I guess I'm just curious to ask because I just want some tips on time management. But how do you, again, just manage everything that you're doing with scheduling and hours of the day
I don't know.
and all that stuff?
Yeah, I try to do. I've been trying to do different projects because when you get bored, with one project, I usually I work on like 3 projects per day, roughly. Like, so right now I'm in an editing session with I just directed a video for a band. So I'm getting the finishing touches on that. I have another editing project that I'm with. So I have 2 editing projects, and then I have the songs. So I just try to do a little bit on each one every day. That because the songs are already recorded. So now it's just like the fluff stuff and getting it ready for mixing. But I find that if I do like maybe a couple hours on one thing, then move over to the, something else, it keeps my mind interested, where you don't just get bored and you just kind of get, hit the wall and you have no ideas anymore. So it's doing that. And then I'll run outside and do yard work and then come back in, and then I'll be fresh, like it's just weird stuff like that. But I do work a lot, long hours, sometimes, barely sleep, but it's worth it because I want this finished result. It's like, I'm excited for that. And hopefully the fans will agree once they hear it. But that's how I do it. It's really a terrible way, but that works for me. Yeah.
Right on. No, very, very cool for sure. And the typical just kind of fun Jay question, especially in October. Are you a horror movie guy? Do you have a favorite if you are? And are you doing anything for Halloween?
I am. I like psychological thrillers. I don't like blood and gore, although I've seen those movies, but I like the ghost stuff. I like supernatural stuff. Halloween, I am not. I don't care for Halloween. I don't know why. When I was a kid, I didn't like it either. I don't know why. I have nothing against it. I just don't do anything with it. I wear a dress any other day. I don't have to put a dress on. Guys, need an excuse to wear, a nice cheerleading outfit. I wear one around the house on a Tuesday. So who the hell needs Halloween for that? But
there you go.
Yeah. So no, I don't have any plans for Halloween. I like October. It's my birthday month, and there's a lot of my friends. There's so many people they're born in October. I love the month. But Halloween, no, not so much. Not so much. Gotcha. I don't hate it. I don't like it. I'm kind of like,
That's cool, man. Do you and your girlfriend give out candy if your door's knocked on Sunday?
Yeah, nobody's knocked on the door in years. I mean, yeah, I haven't. I mean, honestly, I don't remember anybody in the last couple of years knocking on the door. But yeah, we'll give them like weird stuff, like a stapler, because we don't have any candy here. It was just go a gold record, just take.
There you go.
But it's no, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we've honestly we have
drumsticks
candy here. Drumsticks, yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe this year, I don't know. Because I mean, we live in a cool neighborhood and all, but I don't even see kids really that much. They're more older. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. No worries, brother. Well, Phil, we can't thank you enough for taking a few hours out of your night to hang out with us, man. We really
my pleasure.
And what's most important is, like, did you have a good time? Did you like your questions, and did you enjoy spending time with us?
Absolutely. Outside of my phone having technical issues, it was a great time, so I apologize for that. But yeah, no, look, as you could tell, I can talk. So if you give me a platform to talk, I don't shut the hell up. So I'm cool. 2 hours is easy. That's nothing. But I appreciate you having me on. And when the doc comes out, let's do another one of these for sure.
Definitely. Yes.
You'll have some new music. I'll send you guys the music, the doc. You can review it. We'll do a 30 years a drummer show or something and have some fun.
We'll do it 100%. We got you covered for there. Anything that you need us to help for on any platform, we are happy to do that. Yeah, when everything comes back around, if it turns out that it's happening around your birthday, we'll have you on for another Halloween episode.
Hey, I'll come on anytime. If there's a place for me to talk, I'm there. Don't worry about
awesome.
that. So.
And
yes, it's definitely your place. It's like you're home away from home.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Phil. Enjoy your evening. We can't wait to stay in touch. We can't wait to see the doc and listen to the new record, man. So thank you for thinking of us in that respect.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. And like I said, fans, 30yearsofdrummer.com, philvarone.com.
Yep, we got it right below.
Oh, you got everything? Cool. And they can contact me there, and I look forward to putting some new stuff out for everybody. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Again, that's so awesome, and we are super stoked for it. And Metal Summoners, we are super stoked for you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us again this evening. Guest announcement on Friday. Pay attention to it because it's going to be a cool announcement for what we've got going on when it comes to the next show.
Don't we got a
the announcement-
special? Don't we got a special date for next week?
Yeah. We got something special for next week's episode. So announcement on Friday. So watch out for that. So you'll get all your necessary information. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. Pay attention on Friday. You'll see the goods. We'll deliver as we always do. On behalf of the Metal Summit, Annabelle thanks you. She tuned in with us tonight. For Bobby Dreyer, for the Psycho Steve, for Angel Alamo, and again, of course, we thank Phil Varone for joining us this evening.
Peace.
Jay, we will see you guys next week. We will rock out again. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. As always, you've been watching the Metal Summit.
Dun, dun, dun. Who's gonna wake Bobby?